Tonight on Ctv3 News, a man charged in connection to stabbing incident in Santa Marta Village. A tragic family dispute turns fatal in Spanish lockout as a young woman is killed in a stabbing incident. The Briseño administration keeps its word as it launches a free back-to-school GST free weekend. And Belize awaits a new diplomatic appointments as rumors swirl around potential U.S. ambassador nominee. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Thursday, July 17th, 2025.
Let's all be safe during the rainy season. Belize Electricity Limited reminds you that heavy rains can cause flooding in your neighborhood and on roads. Avoid driving or walking in flooded areas, which can have hidden dangers such as debris and fallen power lines. Belize Electricity Limited cares about your safety. Please stay safe.
Fiestarama 2025, bigger, bolder, and better at the People's Stadium August 2nd and 3rd. On Saturday, come out and enjoy football competition, Pro FC 17, Mr. Gerrans, Fire Starter, Technoban, and Sweet Pain. On Sunday, Dog Show, Cabalgata, Mexican Car Show, Panorific Steel Band, Buster B Band, Los Tios, DJ Baba, Father Jesse, mechanical rides, foods, drinks, and more. See you there.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience. September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Fiestarama 2025, bigger, bolder, and better at the People's Stadium August 2nd and 3rd. On Saturday, come out and enjoy football competition, Pro FC 17, Mr. Gerrans, Fire Starter, Technoban, and Sweet Pain. On Sunday, Dog Show, Cabalgata, Mexican Car Show, Panorific Steel Band, Buster B Band, Los Tios, DJ Baba, Father Jesse, mechanical rides, foods, drinks, and more. See you there.
Good evening with your newscast, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Jaden Gamis. A man has been formally charged in connection with a stabbing incident that took place on Sunday, July 13th in Santa Marta Village in Orange Walk District. Following the incident, police acted swiftly and after receiving guidance from the Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, on Wednesday, July 16th, they obtained a warrant and subsequently arrested and charged 24-year-old Jairo Godoy Cortez with the offense of grievous harm. The charges stem from an altercation during which Cortez allegedly stabbed a 26-year-old Miguel Valladares in the abdomen. Valladares was rushed to the Northern Regional Hospital, where he underwent surgery and is currently in recovery. Cortez appeared before the Orange Walk Magistrates Court yesterday to face the single count of grievous harm. His request for bail was denied and he has been remanded to Belize Central Prison until his next court hearing scheduled for September 19th, 2025. A family dispute in the quiet Mennonite community of Spanish Lookout turned deadly on Wednesday night, leaving a young woman dead. Information from the police indicates that around 9:37 p.m. on July 16th, officers were called to a home in the community where they found 20-year-old Clarissa Rosali Garnillo Rodriguez lying motionless on a veranda with multiple stab wounds. Despite the efforts to save her, she was pronounced dead shortly after arrival at the hospital. Investigators say what began as a disagreement over loud music quickly escalated into a violent confrontation among family members. During the altercation, Clarissa was allegedly attacked by her brother-in-law, 24-year-old Eris Gavaret, who reportedly stabbed her multiple times before fleeing the scene. The brutal killing has shocked the close-knit community, raising troubling questions about how a seemingly minor family dispute spiraled into such a fatal act of violence. Late this evening, police confirmed that the suspected killer has been located and is currently in police custody. Gavaret is expected to be charged with murder in the coming hours. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Francis Fonseca, has confirmed that the government of Belize has not received any formal communication or indication from the Trump administration regarding the status of the previously announced 10% tariff on Belizean and other countries. The tariff, which was initially proposed but later placed on hold, remains a point of concern for Belizean officials. Minister Fonseca noted that GOB is closely monitoring the situation and remains committed to engaging in diplomatic dialogue to protect Belize's trade interests.
No, we have not received any official word from them. So that's a discussion that's ongoing, and generally we work through CARICOM. Again, we're talking about CARICOM. We're working through CARICOM to engage on that matter with the U.S. government. But we're also working with them bilaterally. But no, the 10% tariff that was initially implemented and then put on pause remains on pause. So that has not been put into effect as yet.
Finally, for me, Minister, where's the
Months have passed since the general elections and the start of Prime Minister Briceño's second term in office. However, to date, there has been no official word on the government's diplomatic appointments for this term. As the new administration embarks on this new chapter, questions remain about who will represent Belize on the international stage. Now, while the full list has not yet been announced, there are some rumors including a familiar face poised to represent Belize in Washington. Former Assistant Secretary General of the Organization of American States, OAS, Nestor Mendez, is reportedly being considered for the post of Belize's next ambassador to the United States. Speaking on this appointment this week, Minister of Foreign Affairs Honorable Francis Fonseca confirmed that Belizeans can expect the new list very soon, and it will include significant changes across Belize's diplomatic corps.
What I can speak to is that, yes, we have not been asked to provide any further information. We originally we had a discussion with the U.S. Embassy here in Belize, and we provided them with some information. This was several months ago. In our view, that the information we provided was satisfactory. It addressed their concerns. So that matter has not been raised again.
But how is we have a separate talk with them in relation to our medical brigade?
With Cuba? No, we still have a sort of program, but as you rightly pointed out, one of the key concerns for the U.S. State Department was whether or not these people were being paid directly or whether the money was being paid to the Cuban government. And in the case of Belize, the monies are paid directly and have been for a long time paid directly to the Cuban doctors and nurses here in Belize. So I think that was their primary concern. Once they were satisfied that that was the case in Belize, then they really did not have any further concerns.
In a clear demonstration of its commitment to supporting citizens and fulfilling its promises under Plan Belize 2.0, the government of Belize has announced the upcoming GST-free weekends for the back-to-school season. The initiative will see no goods and services tax applied to essential school supplies purchased during 2 designated weekends, from Thursday, July 31st to Saturday, August 2nd, and again from Friday, August 15th to Sunday, August 17th, 2025. This move aims to ease the financial burden on families preparing their children for the new school year, reaffirming the government's dedication to accessible education and economic relief. In other cabinet news, Minister of Education briefed the cabinet on ongoing issues at the University of Belize, the UB, emphasizing that negotiations between the UB Union and the university's Board of Trustees are matters to be addressed internally. Of that note is that the government continues to demonstrate its support, contributing over $13.5 million, comprising $7.5 million in subventions and over $6 million in student financial aid, to bolster the university's efforts and ensure students' needs are met. Environmental concerns also took center stage as the cabinet discussed the escalating sargassum influx, which has increased by 70% compared to the last major episode in 2022. In response, the government endorsed an emergency response plan developed in collaboration with the Ministries of Tourism, Youth, Sports and Diaspora Relations, and Blue Economy and Marine Conservation. The plan includes financial assistance for coastal cleanup efforts, incentives for collection and transportations of sargassum, and the establishment of a monitoring and early warning system to better prepare for future occurrences. This proactive approach highlights Belize's commitment to safeguarding its environment and coastal economy. And in a significant move towards strengthening trade capacity, the cabinet approved the ratification of the agreement establishing the Advisory Center on WTO law. This international body will provide Belize with vital legal services and capacity building support, enabling the country to effectively manage WTO-related obligations, dispute responses, and trade policy reviews. During cabinet meeting, further legislative reforms were also approved, including the consolidation of Belize's municipal laws into a single modern Municipal Government Act, and updates to the accounting regulations governing city and town councils. These changes aim to improve governance, promote uniformity, and enhance efficiency at the local government level. Additionally, the Ministry of Local Government is set to modernize the Liquor License Act to better regulate the sale and consumption of alcohol across Belize. Belize is also advancing its digital transformation with the full-scale rollout of the National ID system. Following the successful pilot project, this initiative promises to improve public and private sector service delivery, increase transparency, and streamline citizen identification process nationwide. And recognizing the importance of climate resilience, the cabinet approved legislation to establish a comprehensive framework for climate change governance and will introduce the Climate Change and the Carbon Market Initiatives Bill. The government also encourages Belizeans to participate in Climate Week 2025, scheduled for August 25th to the 29th in Belize City, focusing on youth engagement and climate action. Additional measures include amendments to transportation regulations, such as adjusting axle taxes for foreign cargo trucks and establishing a registry to track cargo origins at border points. Belize's recent authorization by CARICOM to pursue full free movement of nationals under enhanced cooperation with Barbados, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines also moves forward, with legislations being drafted to implement this regional integration. Coming up next, tomorrow night it's lights, camera, action as the Great Sea Dive play takes center stage at the Philip Alvarez Park. Stay tuned.
Fiestarama 2025, bigger, bolder, and better at the People's Stadium August 2nd and 3rd. On Saturday, come out and enjoy football competition, Pro FC 17, Mr. Jaraz, Fire Starter, Technoban, and Sweet Pain. On Sunday, Dog Show, Cabalgata, Mexican Car Show, Panorific Steel Band, Buster B Band, Los Tios, DJ Baba, Father Jesse, mechanical rides, foods, drinks, and more. See you there. Fiestarama 2025, bigger, bolder, and better at the People's Stadium August 2nd and 3rd. On Saturday, come out and enjoy football competition, Pro FC 17, Mr. Jaraz, Fire Starter, Technoban, and Sweet Pain. On Sunday, Dog Show, Cabalgata, Mexican Car Show, Panorific Steel Band, Buster B Band, Los Tios, DJ Baba, Father Jesse, mechanical rides, foods, drinks, and more. See you there.
The collective voice of healthcare workers at the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital, KHMH, is growing louder as their unions gears up for potential industrial action over long-standing pensions grievances. The KHMH Workers Union has been vocal in demanding what they assert is overdue pension benefits owed by the government of Belize, the GOB, covering a period from 2001 to 2017. Similar to recent protests by joint unions and the UB faculty and staff union, KHMH workers have expressed frustration over what they describe as years of neglect and unfulfilled promises. Their efforts to secure what they believe is their rightful entitlements have included rallying and organized sick-outs, which temporarily disrupt hospital operations. However, in an effort to resolve the dispute amicably, the union filed a formal complaint with the Ministry of Labor. In response, both parties agreed to a 21-day notice period before any industrial action might be taken. This agreement aimed to allow for negotiations and potential resolution, avoiding costly disruptions to healthcare services. As the deadline approaches rapidly, the Minister of Health and Wellness is hopeful for a resolution.
Now, the whole issue is those years that lapsed between 2001 and 2017 in terms of what benefits do these persons have for those years that was lost during while being employed. Some of them have already retired. And so, yes, I do agree that there has to be some form of compensation. But that is between the authority and the union. The government, of course, is the intermediary in all of this because KHMH is a statutory body. At the ministry, we only regulate the functions of KHMH. However, the authority has its own mandate. Government subsidized services at KHMH in terms of providing a subvention. And I'm happy that we have seen where cool heads have been able to sit down and renegotiate. I know that the union wrote a counter proposal. The authority felt that it had to go to labor because there were steps taken, industrial action that was taken that had to be looked at, and so the labor commissioner had to step in. The Ministry of Labor had to step in, and so this is the stage where negotiations are taking place. As I said, they made a counter proposal to what was being offered by the negotiating team, and I'm hoping that within 2 weeks when they come back. And so I'm hoping that by the end of this next 2 weeks, that we could come to some amicable solution and find a final rest to this matter that has been lingering for years and years and years. And we're now trying to solve this problem and make sure that from here on, then everybody been just smooth sailing. That's all.
With the 21-day notice period nearing its end, all eyes are on the government and the union to find common ground before any industrial actions are triggered, potentially impacting healthcare delivery across the country. Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño, in collaboration with his Orange Walk Central Committee and the Office of the Special Envoy for the Development of Families and Children, is lending strong support to a series of summer programs in Orange Walk Town this year. For years, Prime Minister Briceño has hosted the annual sporting summer camps for the youth of his constituency. This year, however, he has expanded his efforts by teaming up with the Special Envoy and the Sandy Hunter Public Library to launch a special summer initiative aimed at cultivating a love for reading and promoting awareness for Belize's rich natural heritage.
And I have to give credit where the credit is due. I mean, Rosanna, as you know, was the one who said, let's do it. And so my team got together, her team, we went with Sandy Hunter, with Shamira, with everybody, and then collaborated on a number of events. We know we have the Friday night movies that we do know.
Right.
And we have it at the Dome, and people say, well, why the Dome? Well, because, it's covered, so if there's rain, the kids would be, won't get wet. Also, it's safer because it's enclosed. And and it's been successful. I saw the picture of last week's Friday one, Saturday. And it was crowded.
Right.
Because a lot of kids are showing up. So I'm very happy, very excited of how this has worked out. That we have quite a number of children now participating on this event. There's a part of reading, but in this one, it's also looking at the natural resources of Belize and picking a theme. And this one also is diving.
Yes,
with
diving.
with books. I always remember libraries, reading, opening up new worlds, looking at new universes, having different stories. And so we were quite pleased and we're quite excited about being a part of this program.
The highlight of this partnership is a unique summer camp at the Sandy Hunter Library, where children have been engaged in interactive sessions focused on storytelling, literature, and Belize's abundant natural resources. As part of the camp's grand finale, participants will take the stage in a theatrical performance, a long-lost tradition being revived after many years.
Our annual summer program has been taking place for many, many years ago. It's the highlight of our library. And like what PM had said many years ago, play was a very important role in our library. But it went dormant for a period of time. But with the collaboration of the Central Office and Special Envoy, we are having a play, a beautiful play, this coming Friday. So we have been having different departments coming into the library to talk about the importance, as what PM had said, the development and the conservation of our natural resources, and the importance for the children to get to know how to protect our environments, how to keep on climate change and then a lot of how can I say the pollution that's taking place in the ocean, because that was one of the highlights with the different departments. So come every week, every day, we have different departments coming in to speak to the children about what is the theme about of our library. Our theme is public libraries, ocean of possibilities, dive into a sea of stories.
The collaboration with the Prime Minister this year also includes a special music summer program which has been offering children the opportunity to engage in the country's booming orange economy with one of Belize's premier musicians, Lucio Alcocer.
Well, this summer we decided again to move it away from not just the sports. The sports is a big event. It's fairly costly because we have. This time we had, I think, about over 200 kids.
Yes.
And then, we give them a snack and all of that. And we have to make sure we have enough people to not only to train them, but also to be able to supervise them so that they don't get hurt. likewise, now that we have these other programs, so now we have more children participating and more kids. Like I always tell these kids, we open up, whilst it's our Drug Central event, we open up to everybody.
Everybody, yes.
And so I tell these kids, you say you might be going to La Immaculada, but at this program you might meet somebody from Chapel School or from Adventist School or Louisiana School. And so you meet new friends,
Yes.
you make new friends. And this year of collaboration, cooperation, teamwork, and being and creating new friends, to us that's a very important part of these programs, so that children can learn in an environment of fun, and this is what it's all about.
Turning back to the grand finale of the Sandy Hunter summer program, the play entitled The Great Sea Dive will be staged tomorrow evening at the Philip Alvarez Park Dome, starting at 7 p.m. The event promises to be a delightful treat for Orange Waqueños and a proud showcase of the creativity and potential of the town's youngest citizens. Earlier in their term in government, the Trump administration issued a stern warning to governments in the region, cautioning that officials who continue to support what it calls forced labor by Cuban medical brigades may risk losing their U.S. visas. At the time, the U.S. cited this mission, which involve sending Cuban doctors, nurses, and medical personnel abroad, are structured in a way that enriches the Cuban regime, rather than benefiting the healthcare workers themselves. Cuban medical missions have long been welcomed in Belize, where they have provided critical healthcare services in underserved communities. The partnership has been a cornerstone of medical cooperation between Belize and Cuba for years. Speaking on this matter this week, Foreign Minister Honorable Francis Fonseca confirmed that the government of Belize had initially provided information through the U.S. Embassy, which clarified some of their concern, and have since not been asked to provide any information.
What I can speak to is that, yes, we have not been asked to provide any further information. We originally we had a discussion with the U.S. Embassy here in Belize, and we provided them with some information. This was several months ago. In our view, that the information we provided was satisfactory. It addressed their concerns. So that matter has not been raised again.
But how is we have a separate talk with them in relation to our medical brigade?
With Cuba? No, we still have a sort of program, but as you rightly pointed out, one of the key concerns for the U.S. State Department was whether or not these people were being paid directly or whether the money was being paid to the Cuban government. And in the case of Belize, the monies are paid directly and have been for a long time, paid directly to the Cuban doctors and nurses here in Belize. So I think that was their primary concern. Once they were satisfied that that was the case in Belize, then they really did not have any further concerns.
As regional governments navigate the diplomatic tensions surrounding the issue, Belize has reaffirmed its support for the long-standing humanitarian collaboration with Cuba. Belize made significant strides in advancing its intellectual property (IP) agenda during the 66th series of meetings of the assemblies of the member states of the World Intellectual Property Organization (WIPO), held from July 8th to July 17th, 2025 in Geneva, Switzerland. Representing Belize, Deputy Registrar of the Belize Intellectual Property Office, Kay King, joined delegates from 193 member states in discussion on global IP services, copyright reforms, and initiatives to support innovation and economic growth. On the margins of the assemblies, Belize held a series of strategic meetings, including the ceremonial signing of the APG agreement with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Talks with WIPO on Belize's first national IP strategy, and discussions with the WIPO, arbitration, and Mediation Center on Advancing Alternative Dispute Resolution for IP Cases in Belize. Belize also engaged with the Madrid and Hague registries and the Copyright Law Division on strengthening its legal framework and exploring new digital tools such as e-filing systems. Belize was commended for being the first country in the Caribbean to fully digitize its IP registry. Its strong performance under the Madrid and Hague systems and its participation in the WIPO's Women Entrepreneurs Program. There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Fiestarama 2025, bigger, bolder, and better at the People's Stadium August 2nd and 3rd. On Saturday, come out and enjoy football competition, Pro FC 17, Mr. Jaraz, Fire Starter, Technoban, and Sweet Pain. On Sunday, Dog Show, Cabalgata, Mexican Car Show, Panorific Steel Band, Busta B Band, Los Tios, DJ Baba, Father Jesse, mechanical rides, foods, drinks, and more. See you there.
Electricity is evolving, and BEL is leading the way with smarter connections across Belize. Meet AMI, Advanced Metering Infrastructure. It's not just a meter, it's a smarter way to manage power. Smart meters record your energy use in real time and securely send the data to BEL. Key customer benefits include real-time insights into energy usage, improved home energy planning, integration of solar, battery, and EV technologies, and innovative customer service solutions. Get ready! AMI is coming soon to municipalities across Belize, including the Keys, to give you more control and reliability. BEL, bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
The National Institute Culture and History, NICH, has announced the winners of the 2025 Belize Culture Fund, BCF. The microgrants were awarded to 9 individuals and organizations whose projects aim to safeguard and promote Belize's rich cultural heritage. The BCF, administered under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Culture and Immigration, is designed to support initiatives that preserve both tangible and intangible cultural expressions, encourage educational campaigns, and stimulate the creative industry. This year, the program received a total of 80 applications. After a competitive selection process, 9 were chosen to receive funding across 5 thematic categories. Safeguarding Belize's Living Heritage, $5,000. The Stanley Peck Children and Youth Arts Education, another $5,000. Damian Moore, Cultural Conservation Initiatives, $5,000. Ugo Carrillo, Making Museums Vibrant, $5,000. Guillermo Paz, Dynamic Microgrants, $2,000. Ellington Cayetano, Kendrick Gonzalez, and Juan Cal, Claver College Extension Expressive Arts Class, Andre Habet and Lee McLowen. The Belize Cultural Fund continues to play a vital role in empowering local creatives and cultural practitioners across the country. NICH encourages those who were not selected in this round to reapply in the next funding cycle. For further details or to inquire about future opportunities, interested parties can contact the Belize Culture Fund at culturalfund@nichbelize.org or call 227-0811 or 822-3302. A formal handing over ceremony was held today in 7 Miles, El Progreso, to mark the delivery of 3 newly constructed tilapia ponds to Cooperativa El Progreso de Siete Millas Cooperative. The initiative falls under the Promoting Sustainable Livelihoods, Building Resilience, investments in cooperative projects which aims to bolster food security and income diversification for rural communities. The project is funded by the Global Environment Facility, GEF, Small Grants Program Belize, and implemented by the Belize Enterprise for Sustainable Technology, BEST, and the Department of Cooperatives in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, MAFSE. Present at the ceremony were Alex Balona, Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, and Area Representative for Cayo Central, Lionel Requena. National Coordinator for the GEF Small Grants Program Belize under the UNDP, and Gareth Murillo, Registrar of Cooperatives. The event concluded with the signing of a formal agreement between the stakeholders. Cooperativa El Progreso de Siete Millas, traditionally known for its production of potatoes, carrots, and green vegetables, is now expanding into aquaculture. The new tilapia ponds are expected to yield between 400 and 500 pounds of fish every 6 months, providing a new valuable source of protein and a new revenue stream for the cooperative. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, July 18th here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening, and have a good night.